Good morning everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to start the Oslo stitch, do your foundation chain and continue with the next row. So to start, you're going to make a loop and you're just going to start that by doing the beginning of a knot. So you're going to go under, over and under like that, and there's your loop. Now what you're going to do is the part of the knot that's here is going to be put on the back of your thumb. But before we do that, we're going to turn the loop over. It's very important that your working yarn, the long piece, is always between your index finger and your thumb. So once you have it like that, you're then going to attach the rest of the wool to your needle. Now to begin the Oslo stitch, you're going to take your needle and pull it straight down the back of your thumb like that, and by lightly holding it in place at the back, you're going to put your needle through very slowly, bring it all the way through very slowly, and we're going to create a second loop under the one we already have. Now you might have to guide the wool so it ends up at the bottom. If you do it too fast, that second loop will end up here. If your loops do get muddled up, just pull on the working wool and whichever one tightens should always be that bottom one. Now to begin the Oslo stitch, we need to take the top loop off. You can do this by using your fingers like this, or you can use your needle. And it's always front to back on this top loop. Once you have it on your needle, you're going to turn your needle just a little bit and pull it under the thumb loop. Be careful that loop doesn't come off. And you're going to pull it under the working wool. So it looks like you have two loops, but this one is really a false one at the moment. And we're going to do the same again. You're going to push your needle through very slowly all the way through, and we need to create that second loop again. Like so. And that's the Oslo stitch. So we'll do a few more stitches together. Top loop off, make sure you go front to back. Bring your needle under your thumb loop, under the working wool. Again, it looks like a false loop. Take your needle all the way through very slowly. Make sure that top loop on your thumb doesn't come off. You can see mine is very close, so I'm just going to wriggle it back down. Guide the wool all the way until you have your second loop. Now, at this point, the back of your thumb is going to look very, very messy, but that's okay. We're going to pull the little tail here, like so, and you'll see the beginnings of your stitches. Now we're going to continue. I'll pause the video, continue doing as many chains as you want, and we'll come back. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. So you have you have your start down here and the tail we used to tighten those first stitches, and you should have a little chain. Now you're thinking, well, how do I attach that? I'm going to show you how to do your join now. Make sure you have some water and your next wool. What I like to do before I attach the wool is just to get my needle on the other end, so I'm good to go once I've done the join. If you use plied wool, it can be easier to do your join. So you just want to pull it apart. This is 3-ply, so I'm going to have a fork that looks like this, but you can see there's 2 threads here and 1 thread here. That's totally fine. We're just going to set that down, and we need to do the same with the other piece, like so. That's going to be a little difficult to show on camera because my hands will get in the way, but if you look at the fork here, you can see where it's still one piece just before where we split it. That's where we want to overlap these. You want the solid piece over the solid piece. So you want the forks overlying the solid piece, and you're just going to bring those two forward, and you're just going to twist it around. And then on the other side, do the same. Now that looks like one piece of wool, but we haven't felted it yet. So you're just going to put that in your hand, and you're going to cover it in water. So you want it to be soaking. And now what we're going to do is just rub it. You just do this until it looks like one piece of wool. Now, that can happen sometimes. I'm actually delighted that happened. If that happens, you just stretch it out again and do another twist, and then come back to it. So, there. Looks like one piece of wool, so we can continue with our work. That join is delicate until it dries. If you're having problems finding out where your work is, like how do I put that back on my thumb now? If you have a look, there is one loop here, and your next one is here. So if you pull this, one of the loops will shrink. So my top one shrunk. So that goes onto my thumb first, followed by the other one. And now we can start again. Now, when you're pulling the join through, do it very, very slowly, otherwise it can come undone. And if it comes undone, you might have to unpick your work and refelt it. So we're going to go very, very slowly. You'll even feel the difference when the wool is coming through. See, you can see my join just here, so I'm going to grab the join and bring it through. We don't want too much tension on it yet. When that join dries, it won't come undone. Now, so my join now is my second loop. So I'm just gonna, you can see at the back, it's a bit sticky out. So I'm just gonna give it a little pull just to get rid of that bump. Now that we have a little long bit here, I'm going to show you how to start your second row. The most important thing to do here, depending how long you want this would be pretty long if you want to do a hat. Just run your fingers down it and make sure it's straight and there's no twist. What you're going to do now is bring this end towards your thumb, like this. So instead of crochet where you'd go the other way, we're doing it this way. With crochet it would be this way and you'd work that way. No, we're going to be working on top of that row, going anti-clockwise. Now it's going to be difficult. So if you have a look at your stitches, there's one there, the next one is there. You need to always go front to back on these loops. So we've picked up the first stitch on the old row, and now you're just going to do a normal Oslo stitch. And see how my tail has come up Just try and catch that with your little finger or whatever feels more natural to you, and you just continue your Oslo stitch. Like that, and that's the start of your second row. And you might have to do this with your work, just so you can see your next stitch right in there. If you do miss a stitch in nail binding, it can be quite obvious that you've missed it. So just be very, very careful when you're working in the round and make sure you get every single stitch on the way around. And continue your work. If you're doing gloves, make sure your starting chain is wide enough for the widest part of your hand, which would be from here to here. So make sure it wraps all the way around your hand without being too tight. And then join it just like we did. And when you want a video showing how to do the thumb loop on your gloves, please go into the comments and let me know what you want to see next.